Hello, Omar. Could you please give an introduction about yourself?
Yes, hello. My name is Omar. I am from Peru. I live in Lima. Peru is a small country in South America, also known because Machu Picchu is here. And I went to the traditional path. I went to university. I have a bachelor's degree in business administration, but I've always been trying to make something on my own. And since I discovered the guys and the community of the real world, it has helped me tremendously to achieve that.
Yeah, very cool. Peru isn't that small. You said it's a small country. It's pretty big, and it has a lot of stuff that you
Yes,
have everything you need for nature. I know there's jungle, water, sand. So there's just everything in terms of nature. I was over there maybe 3 months ago. So I went to Lima, then went to Amazon. It was Iquitos. Do you know?
yes, yes. I've been to Iquitos.
Iquitos. And then Cusco as well. But yeah, so pretty familiar with it. And Lima, did I say Lima? Anyway, um, so it has a lot to see. So really cool that you're there. Do you plan on staying there as well, or do you think once you make more money, are you planning on leaving somewhere else?
No, I am planning on staying in my country because I would like to make a big change, especially doing business. I think doing business is a great way to improve a country and its population. But of course, since I hit 15K, 20K, I would like to travel a lot. Uh,
Mhm.
I've been traveling before with my matrix job salary, which was like a really good salary, but doing it on your own has its own merits. It's more
Yeah,
satisfying.
indeed. Okay, cool. So let's get into how did you end up finding out about the real world and why did you join?
I joined back in December 2022 when you guys were, I think, migrating from Discord to your own platform. Uh, in 2022, I was already at a good matrix job at a big startup in operations, but I was like with one foot on the exit door. I was doing freelancing on my own to make money. I wanted to be completely independent. And I saw one of the clips, I think, from the guys from the affiliate marketing campus on TikTok, and that introduced me to Tate. And I started following that channel. I started seeing more clips. I discovered the emergency meetings, and basically the message that the Tate brothers were talking and telling resonated a lot with me. And when I saw one of the ads of Hastro University, it was called back then, uh, I decided to join. My mindset has always been, if you see an opportunity, invest and then figure it out why it worked and why it didn't, or why it did not. And that's why I joined.
Mhm.
It took me, yes, sometimes to make money, but we will get to that in the next questions, I believe.
Yep, yep, indeed we will. But first, how old are you? Because you said you were already working in a big startup, so that's something that usually happens later in life. But you seem pretty young.
Yes, yes. I see pretty young. I am 26 now, but I graduated from college at 21. So
Mhm.
in 2022, I was already with 23 years old, uh, in a, let's say, like a senior operations role at a big startup, doing like a lot of stuff. And of course, it was a good paying job.
Mhm. And have you since quit that job, or are you still working it?
No, I quit in, I think, in March or April 2023. So
Mm.
now it's going to be like 2 years.
Oh, okay. So was that because of the real world or something else?
Uh, in partially, yes, because I've always played tennis, and since I was making a good amount of money and also making more money doing freelancing back then, I invested all into go to play professional tennis,
Mhm.
and like I started training like 4 or 5 hours per day to play the ITF tournaments, play national tennis tournaments, and that's why basically why I quit. Maybe for some people it's not like a very smart move because you are moving from something secure, which is a matrix job, to play a competitive sport. But I always knew that if I were to put a lot of effort into work, I will make more money on my own. So yeah, that's why I decided to quit. And the real world helped me because back then you guys have and still have a lot of mindset lessons, self accountability lessons, and these were for me like really important to make huge improvements in tennis.
Okay. And talking about stability in a matrix job, that's a delusion because during recessions, so many people get fired. There's no actual stability there unless you have a lot of value to provide. But in which case, you can be doing your own thing. So yeah, um, you went on to tennis. How did tennis go?
I In 1 year I went from like playing club tennis, let's say level, to being in the top 100 of my country,
Mhm.
and also doing the qualies for some ITF tournaments.
Mhm.
And I stopped playing tennis in April 2024. So that would be 1 year today, kind of in average. And yeah, during that year, I was like surviving, doing some freelancing stuff, basically doing SQL because I was good at doing SQL, but business intelligence, let's say, with SQL, and selling things on marketplace. And I also have had one Peruvian brand that used to like sponsor me and give me like free stuff to play. So that uh, was a huge way to cut down costs because tennis is
Yep.
expensive.
Yep. 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 Why did you decide to quit tennis?
Because within me, I achieved something that I think I was looking for, which was to prove myself that I can compete with guys that were, destinating all of their time to that sport. And I saw I could do it. And I wish I had continued, yes, but at some point if you're on your life, you need to prioritize other things like income, you know? And since I had like a really good physical conditioning, because like to play at that level you need to basically be like an athlete, I said I believe I can stop, at least for a moment, put all that energy into building an agency or whatever I want to in the real world. And I also believe we will get into that because you have like a lot of campuses. And of course, not to not be not doing any sport. I transitioned from tennis to MMA. Like I joined a fight gym, so now I am like fighting and doing my AI automation agency. But of course, with aims to return into tennis.
In what time span do you plan to return?
Uh, I am playing again, but only 2 times per week, 1 or 2 hours. But my goal is when I hit 20K per month, which I personally think it's like a good metric to measure stability because 20K means that you have a running business, you have a good offer, you have a good niche. I think I could make 1 hour and a half, maybe 2 hours per day of spare time to train and continue that path. Of course, I am aware I will not play professional tennis. I will not live from that, but the experience of traveling and playing ITF tournaments is also rewarding, and that's something I would like to live.
Okay, so very cool. And now let's get into when you joined the real world, which campuses did you get into?
I joined in December 2022, and I was in the business campus, and I was in the Ecom campus.
Mhm.
I tried to launch an Ecom business back then, and I remember that I did all the lessons. I followed like straight guidelines, but I uh, hit the wall because in my country you don't have like payment gateways, so you couldn't like uh, set up a store unless you had an LLC in the US, which at that time I didn't have. No, so then I was doing business, and yeah, those two campuses mainly.
But then you mentioned AI automation. So is that something you got into later then?
Yes, because the AI Automation Campus, I believe it launched like 10 months ago, maybe.
Mhm. I guess I should have asked overall in your time in the real world, which campuses have you been in? So far you said
Yeah.
ecom, business mastery, and then AI automation, and was that it, or were there more?
No, I've joined like, I think all of them,
Mhm.
but like campuses where I did some work, not just like scheming and seeing what it's all about. Where the CC, the content creation campus, I was there when Pope created and launched it, and I remember I was like one of the 50 guys, one of the first 50 guys joining that, and I did some lessons, I did some UGC there, but then I quit, and I have no shame in saying that because it's the reality. I quit. I was in the business campus, in the Econ campus, the fitness campus, and now the AI automation campus. That's my main campus now.
Yep. So out of those, which did you utilize most? Has it been the AI automation one?
Yes, I was like jumping between campuses, which I do not recommend to anyone seeing this. It's better to go all in into one campus, and I ended up putting all of my effort in the AI automation campus because I like from my previous matrix job, I was used to business operations, I was used to coding, and I was also used to automation. Back in 2022, when I was working, you only had like Zapier and Integromat, uh, and I remember building automations back then. So I was like quite familiar with that. And one day I like hit a wall and say I'm not making any money in the business campus. Of course, because of my own, uh, I take full responsibility of that. But I decided to pivot and say, let's try AI and let's stick to that like for 3 4 months. And that was let's say my silver bullet. No, when I went all in into AI, I made the click that Pope and the other captains say. Like this, there's a moment when you make the click. No,
Yep, yep. Okay. So you went through the AI automation campus, you learned the content within it, and then how did you end up reaching out to clients? And at what point did you land your first client? And what's the whole process there? Did you get on a sales call, and how did you pitch?
okay, yeah, good question. I In the AI campus, you learn how to do cold outreach email. So I set up my system for doing cold outreach to the US, and later on, you learn how to do cold calling also with AI. You have like your own agent that calls businesses. But my first client in AI was from my network. One of the guys I used to go to university with had a real estate, has like now a real estate firm. And I cold DM him and say, hey man, would you be interested in exploring how to use AI? There's a lot of real estate companies using it, and it's only about time that everybody is going to be using it. And he was interested. I did like we had like three Zoom calls, one with him, one with his general manager, one with his whole marketing team, because I was pitching a chatbot. And then I ended up like building a chatbot that crashed, and that took me like a month. Then I didn't hear anything from him from another month. Then I DM him again and said like I fixed it. And since I fixed it, he saw the value, and we landed the contract for 3 months for $1,100 retainer, and that was my first client. And from that you gain like a lot of confidence to jump on sales calls, and to believe that if you can achieve one client, you can get 5, 10.
Mhm. Okay, amazing. So I'm assuming you leveraged that. Then, did you get a testimonial from him?
Yes, I got a testimonial, but for example, I haven't put it on my webpage or any social media. I just have it, and there's another company which is a real estate investment company, because he's a real estate brokerage company, that asked me. I sent the other client my my previous client's contact, and because he asked me for a reference. I don't know if he reached out to him, but if he did, then that would be my testimonial.
Okay, okay, got it. And then you ended up actually working with that person as well. Like everything went through.
With the second client,
Yeah.
yes. With the second client, I did one automation, but we haven't signed any retainer yet. I only did like one job.
And how many clients have you worked with so far in total?
With the AI Automation Campus,
Four.
with
Okay.
four paying clients, yes.
And which are on retainer? How many?
Let's see, two on retainer,
Okay, got it.
two on
And
retainer.
yeah, for Peru, I'm sure that's pretty good. What's the total you've made so far from the AI automation campus?
So far, only from the AI automation, I'm at 6.5K. I I maybe 6.7 or 6.3, something like that. And monthly, I am now at 2.2K. So for my country, like a big salary, because $1 equals like 3.7 soles, which is my country's currency. So if you were to make the conversion, let's say that a manager at like a big company earns 11,000 soles, which is something like 2.8K dollars, and I'm at 2.2K. And this week, because we are 1 or 2 days away from it in the month, I will receive, hopefully, I will receive, if all goes good, two payments. One from $1,100 and another for $1,200.
Okay. So yeah, very solid. As you say, uh, earning a someone who's very experienced in a matrix job would be earning what you're getting now, and this is something that you can scale way beyond as well as you continue to get more clients. So really cool. When you said you were freelancing SQL, did you utilize any lessons from the real world for that, or was that purely just your own thing?
I would say it was 50-50, because the SQL skill and the business operation skill, I got it from like my previous job, and some of the contacts also I've gotten from my previous job. But the lessons that I did apply that helped me land and retain freelancing projects were the sales lessons from the Business Mastery Campus, taught by Arno. Uh, good lessons, like really helped me to stay calm and being good at negotiating. So yeah, I would say 50-50.
Okay. Very cool. And what do your parents think about what you're doing? Because they'd know that you left your matrix job to pursue tennis, and I'll stop tennis to pursue this.
Well, my dad is it's okay. If it helps, I come from a, let's say, mid to high income family. Uh, I've never I've never had to, for example, cut costs on anything. I went to a really good private business school, so I'm a very lucky guy. You know, I've traveled a lot when I was a kid, and I tell this because my dad is a businessman. He owns his own business. He's doing his own stuff. So deep inside, in his soul, he supports that I am building something on my own because I I personally believe that he wants me to prove that I can build something really that makes a really good money in order to, you know, be in order to deserve, you know, to the heritage that he's building, because
Mm.
there's a huge difference between being a business owner and being like an employee. You know,
Yep.
business owners are more capable in anything. And my mom is more like, well, are you sure you want to quit? It's not, you're not doing bad. You know, you can do, for example, an MBA, etc. But that part didn't resonate with me. Uh,
Yep.
Never.
But cool that your dad understands what you're doing, and it's actually good experience for you for future. So yeah, what plans do you have? Speaking of future, if you were to lay it out in short term, medium term, and long term.
Okay, I have planned this year. I've divided it into three periods of 4 months. I think in English you say quadrimester, something like that. So for the first quarter, like for the first 4 months of this year, my goal was to hit at least $1,000 in monthly revenue, which I did. So like good. For the second quarter, like from April to August, I want to hit 8K. And I said 8K because with 8K, I mean, with $8,000 monthly, I can enter the leaderboard of the AI campus. And I would really want to see my name there, you know. Basically, each time that I log in, I see the guys on the leaderboard and I say, I try like to see their wins, you know, what they do, because of course if they are there it's because they are doing something. I mean, they're doing most of the activities better than anyone else, and that's my goal for the second quarter. And for the last 4 months of this year is to hit 20K, because I believe that when you're like 7 8K maybe, you already have like a solid client base, you have testimonials, you have money, for example, to invest if you want to improve your website, something like that. So with more work, it get easier, you know, to escalate. That at least this is what I believe, and I would like to proudly say that I ended up first Trump administration year with 20K. You know.
Yep. 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 Okay. Amazing. Then, what kind of an impact has Tate had on you?
I think it really changed my mind. Peru is still a very traditional country. You see like a lot of
Mhm.
uh, people believing in God here. And I say this because, for example, if you go to Miami, it's really more degenerate than being in Lima or, for example, being in Quito, Buenos Aires. But I still had some woke mind, let's say, beliefs in me, because they are all over social media, and also they are all over universities now. And I didn't think my mindset was weak, but I definitely not, but it was definitely not strong. And the date message really helped me to build a solid foundation on how to act and how to behave and how to think. And I believe that if you not only watch like the emergency meetings, or if you are inside the real world and you watch the lessons, it's not only about like watching them, but as Tate says, take a pen and paper and try to note down something really important that you can apply, and do it. And this really helps tremendously. Uh, for example, when you start building like more a mindset that comes from more from the real world lessons, you start to be more hardworking. You start to believe that, yeah, hard work really pays off always, and there are no shortcuts. You start to take full responsibility, and even if you want to stay at the matrix job, these are like good traits to have. It makes you really, really valuable and productive.
Mhm.
So yeah, I would say that.
Okay, nice. And I guess final few questions. How different does your average day look like now compared to before you joined the real world?
Yeah, it's really different because at the Matrix job, uh, that at least at the last Matrix job that I had, it was like a really good job. You had these flexible work hours, and you didn't need to go to the office every day. But still, half of the week you were like in the traffic, trying to reach the office at 9 a.m. And since it was like more of a senior role, sometimes you left office at 10 p.m., 11 p.m. So it took your whole day out. And when you are like working at a company, you are not doing some productive stuff all day. There's always times where you are wasting time, even at big or competitive companies. So I couldn't manage my time. Now that I am, well, doing things on my own, I still have to, for example, since I live in Peru, in Lima, and I am doing local outreach, I still have to visit some clients at their offices, or uh, go and meet some like CEO at a coffee to try to pitch my services. But now I can manage my time. For example, if I want to train at 11 a.m., then yes, I can do it, because I'm not, you know, being held accountable to be at a place like an office the full day. So it's more like a now a business owner schedule, And if you are responsible enough, business owner schedules sometimes are like more demanding than a matrix job. You are all day working, but it's more fulfilling in the end.
And you're actually building something that will last long term and can scale, whereas there's usually a ceiling on a matrix job. So you can't
Yes.
go beyond that ceiling. So, yeah. Okay, very nice. And now for my final question. Since you got a good amount of value out of the real world, clearly, what do you say to people who are unsure about joining because they're thinking they might get scammed for $50?
Well, I think my message will resonate more with the traditional people, because I've seen that in the real world you have a good amount of people that went to university, went to high school, etc. And the guys that went that like to follow the traditional path might be skeptical, because the matrix mindset tells you that it's a scam, and you need to be always playing secure with your job and your master degree, etc. I would say to all of them that even if you want to pursue like traditional path, be CEO, have a master's, you should join, because you're going to be really, really competitive. You will develop like a, tools in your mind that will make you more productive, more valuable at your work, and eventually you will see that you can do things on your own, and you will have the freedom to decide if you still want to pursue like a high paying job at a company or start something on your own. And I can basically guarantee that you always choose to start something on your own because you will see that you are capable of doing that. So
Yep.
there's like no, it's like a no brainer. You know, it's $50. You can stay, for example, 2 months. It's $100. It's less than what you will spend at a nightclub if you go out, and it will make huge benefit for you.
Indeed. So now, for people who want to find out more about you or contact you, where can they do so?
Yes, you can reach me out at my X account. It's Omar underscore QMA, and you can ask me any question. Happy to help.
Okay. So yeah, we'll add that to the description of the video. And yeah, Omar, thank you for coming on and sharing your story. Pretty cool that at a young age, you had joined as you said, quite a big startup in Peru. Were making good money for Peru, but then decided to quit it to pursue tennis, and then go to top 100 in Peru in tennis. So you knew that if you wanted to continue, like you could have pursued further, but you decided to prioritize making income, and now you have the goal of 20K per month, which is very achievable with the trajectory you're on, because already have the experience, you've gotten some clients in, so now it's just building from there, and then yeah, hitting the 20K, and then going back to tennis. So sounds like a very interesting plan you have there, and I wish you all the best with it.
Thank you, Rogas. Thank you for your time and the interview.